1 week and change later, after the devastating and shocking results, at least for many of us, of the election, and many of us are still reeling, still in shock, trying to figure out what to do and where do we go next. I've read through the responses from many of you from my last video, and I've got some ideas for you, okay? My name is Suri Crowe, and you are watching the MeidasTouch Network. All right, so first of all, if you are not jumping back into the fight, back into regularly scheduled life, I want you to know that you are not alone, because there was life as we knew it before the election and life after, and nothing is normal about the current set of circumstances that we are living in. I thought this tweet from Kat Coffinhead really summed it up well for so many women and the trauma that we are feeling right now. She writes, "Once again, we're reminded that if a woman is sexually assaulted, it doesn't matter. Her rapist can be president. What a horrible country to bring my someday daughters up in. A country where their rapist can be president, but they can't. I will never get justice for what was done to my young body. Neither will E. Jean Carroll or the unnamed victims of Trump. I am so tired." Anyone but Trump wrote, "I am struggling at work. I can barely speak. I have lost friends and family because of Trump, but I cannot condone this and will not accept these people in my life." I want you to know that you are not alone. You are not alone. So many of us have been struggling. And then Carol Rusk posted this. "I am a 74-year-old Black woman living in a red state. My health is not that good, but I have young nieces. What can I do to help fight back? I have been praying. MeidasTouch helps me a lot to stay calm, but I feel the need to do more." Well, Carol, I've got some ideas coming up for you, and I am praying for you too, for your health to improve. And Lord knows, mental health is connected to the rest of you. So Zadara writes, "Being Native American and a Harris voter, my heart broke seeing what our country chose. Being abused emotionally by my father, who has the same ideals as Trump, and being bullied all my life by misogynistic, racist white boys. All of that PTSD returned, and I wept Wednesday. Thankfully, my husband, who also voted for Harris despite his own MAGA father's opinion, has been there to share my sorrow and anger and has reassured me that we are not alone and will fight if we have to. All I can offer is to stay strong, my sisters. We've had to fight before, and we will not let Trump and his lackeys steal our joy, and we will show them we are not weak." Amen, sister. Absolutely. And then T. Sackerman writes, "Thank God for you. You're the only person I've heard who has called out the brutal truth of this election." I think she's referring to the fact that I said it comes down to racism and misogyny, and I will stand on my business on that. "I feel gaslit by everyone else. I'm sobbing in gratitude. Do you do a regular podcast or know other groups or channels to join so I won't feel so alone, to feel a sense of community and in this togetherness? Blessings, 61-year-old white woman in North Carolina." Thank you so much for your kind words of support. And yes, we have the Meidas MIghty community, and I'm going to give some suggestions at the end of this video. Definitely, we cannot let anyone feel alone at this moment. This person writes, "In 2016, I was confused and depressed. In 2024, I'm frightened and disgusted. This time, it's far worse." You know what? I'm going to agree on that. I think this is worse because we know what he is capable of, and this time he doesn't have the so-called guardrails that he had the first time around, because those people are gone. So I think it is much scarier this time around, but it doesn't mean that we are hopeless and helpless. And then this person writes, "I just found out that a friend that I really care for voted for him," meaning this person voted for Trump. "I was stunned. I can't bring myself to even talk to him. I don't know if I'll ever be able to talk to him again. How could I have been so wrong about him? As a woman in my 70s, I am crushed, but that won't keep me from fighting for my daughter, my granddaughters, my friends of color, and all the others who are impacted by this horrible turn of events. I guarantee you are not the only person who has suddenly discovered who your real friends are and who they aren't." This person, Cordis Inc. writes, "I truly feel something good is going to come out of this. It is like the phoenix rebirthing from the ashes. We will get through this." I love that. I love that. Amen. Peace and big love to you, Suri. Look forward to every one of your podcasts. Thank you so much. "I can't stop crying. I thought I was strong enough to take it, but hearing my daughter and her friends weeping from fear of the unknown is gut-wrenching. Women are always the pillar, but this feels different, powerless." Amy Kozlakowski writes, thank you for this video, for articulating what so many of us are feeling. But this video helps keep the admittedly low right now flame of hope burning. It gives me comfort and helps me to recharge for the fight. You guys recharge me, truth be told. Seriously. Thank you, Suri, for shining this podcast on women. We have dealt with inequality our entire lives throughout history. It is time for the songlines of our female ancestors to shine through and keep fighting against the Fuentes on this earth. Their voice will be weakened by our cries of power and resilience. Our time will come. Amen, Curious Monkey, and you are so welcome. Again, I just want to say, y'all inspire me. You give me the courage to keep on going. And I love what you mentioned about our female ancestors. My grandmother immigrated to this country from Finland, and I just feel my ancestors' blood, like, not to be dramatic, but I feel it because she came over here for a better life, as did my Irish and other immigrant ancestors. And to see what this country has turned to, like, this is not what they came here for. So I agree that our female ancestors are the whispers in our ear saying that we are here to fight and turn the page to a better day. And she was referring to Nick Fuentes in that video. I posted his hideous, evil comment about how he said, whatever, you can just watch my other video. But on that note, Nick Fuentes was doxxed. I'm not condoning that, but he was doxxed. And guess where he ran to, since he's no longer hanging out at his house, since it was revealed where he lives online? To his mama. He's hiding with his mama. So much for Mr. Tough Guy Misogynist. He ran to the arms of his mummy. Anyway, do not give up the ship. Do not give up the ship. I've heard pundits and even some of my own friends say that we should give up on ever nominating another woman for president. I say absolutely not. That is letting misogyny and white supremacy win. I refuse. For me, that has been the gut punch, the rejection of women that half the country shoved in our faces. And I think the most painful part of it was the 53% of white women who voted for Donald Trump, that they said, no, we don't want a woman to be president either. So I reject that. As for what we can do right now, listen to this clip of Timothy Snyder, who is an expert, a Yale scholar on authoritarianism, with Ali Velshi of MSNBC.
How do you remain politically engaged when the possibility of another Trump administration makes you feel really bleak right now?
Well, as you say, you have to be in the moment in order to get through the moment. And of course, it's natural to be distressed or upset. But what you shouldn't be is anxious or lonely, because that's the state which makes authoritarianism possible. After all, Donald Trump is just one person. And as Professor Tribe was saying, he's enmeshed in many difficulties from the beginning. And I would add that the group of people that we elected along with Donald Trump, which means Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, Vladimir Putin, J.D. Vance, these people are not necessarily going to get along with one another over the long term. It's much more easy for them to defeat the other candidate than it will be for them to govern. They're going to have problems. What we need to be able to see is that he can't do it on his own. He can't do it without us. So that means that we have to imagine all the little ways that we can fill in the gaps. I think we should speak not so much of guardrails, which that metaphor means he's bumping up against us all the time, but rather of well springs or safe houses or things that we build together that make that flower, that bloom, that encourage other people to act. And the other problem with the guardrails thing is that they're not there on their own. They're not just there by the side of the highway, right? The things that exist that restrain Mr. Trump are going to be things that we actually create. The institutions, the states, as Professor Tribe quite rightly said, they're important, but they're more important when we believe in them, when we recognize their constitutional authority, as he said, but also when we lend them our ears, when we lend them our time, and we say, oh, yes, we like what our state is doing, or what our city is doing, or what our city council is doing, and we're going to support it along the way.
He says, first and foremost, do not isolate. That's what I love about community, because we need to be around others, like-minded others. When you get alone, that is how authoritarianism wins. And I've been so connected to my pro-democracy friends in the last several months because I've been working on different campaigns. And in just the last week, through trading texts, crying on the phone to each other, sending each other pictures of different Halloween candy that, from the kids. I ate my kids' Halloween candy. I did this, I did that. Whatever shows we've been binge watching. So please do not isolate yourself. That's how the enemy gets you, because you're not alone. I highly recommend getting Professor Snyder's book. It's called On Tyranny. Look, it's pocket size. You can tuck it in your purse, take it with you wherever you go, tuck it in your backpack. And the point of it is never normalize detestable behavior. It's 20 lessons from the 20th century. It's an easy read. I haven't gone through all of it, but it's going to be my go-to book. It's just making sure that we never normalize tyranny. And in terms of other things that you can do besides getting this really helpful book, one of the other main points he talks about is never obey in advance. You want to make it as difficult as possible for authoritarians to have their way. And you do that through community. So here are things you can do and you'll be uplifted. Like for me, I've been working on campaigns. Get involved with your local city council, get involved with your state government, like get involved with your local school board. These are areas where these fascist Republicans, these MAGA Republicans have been working for years. So here are areas where we can set up firewalls and bulwarks to prevent these Trump MAGA Republicans from doing their worst. Get involved. Like for me, wildlife conservation is a huge cause, like a burning cause in my heart. We can win in lower level courts by protecting wildlife conservation because we know that Trump is going to gut any environmental protections. Like there are so many causes that you can join. Get involved in the ACLU. Moms Demand Action is a wonderful group to join. I am telling you, that's an anti-gun violence group that has been responsible for putting so many women in different seats, from state government all the way up into Congress. So I highly, highly recommend that groups, but just find something to join. And, we're going to fight back. We will. And we resist. And I just thought I would also share this message from a guy by the name of Anthony D. Bryce, because I know so many women are just feeling brokenhearted and in despair right now. And I thought this was a lovely message to send out to all my girls. So take a listen.
I woke up this morning to a lot of messages from heartbroken women. Women who say they feel defeated, especially Black women. Y'all reached out to me asking me to put something out today because the weight of this moment feels so heavy. And I know there's this deep sense of disappointment, feeling like you've lost hope. You showed up, you poured your heart into believing that maybe this time it could be different. You stood tall despite every setback because that's who you are. You are hope. You are resilience. But listen to me when I say this. Your worth is not tied to today's outcome. Your power isn't dependent on who holds a title or who sits in a seat. You have always been powerful, even when the world refuses to acknowledge it. You are the backbone of change because you've carried generations on your shoulders, uplifted communities, and built movements from the ground up. That kind of strength doesn't just disappear. Yes, it's okay to feel tired, but don't ever think that you defeated. Don't let this moment make you forget who you are, because you are the same woman who's always held it down. You are the same woman who creates magic out of struggle. You are the same woman who breathes life into every space where others see none. What happened today doesn't erase the work that you've put in, the progress you've made, or the legacy that you're building. You are change, even when change feels slow. You are hope, even when hope feels distant. And you are worthy of all the good things that you've been fighting for. So take a moment to feel what you need to feel. Then remember this. You've never been defined by who wins or loses. You're defined by your perseverance, your heart, and your relentless drive to keep pushing forward. Keep building, keep showing up, and keep believing that your impact matters, because it does.
And also, just in this culture of hustle and grind, it's easy to feel like you're not doing enough, especially because listening to all these pundits saying that we as a party or as a pro-democracy movement didn't do enough, that is just ridiculous. I won't read an article or listen to a pundit if they say that we didn't do enough or that Kamala Harris didn't do enough. I'm like, zip it. No, because we did. We are enough. Kamala Harris is more than enough. We are not the problem. White supremacy, patriarchy, greed, and capitalism are the problem. Oligarchs bought this election. Okay. So we resist that by just being. And, rest is a weapon, and everyone has a different timeline for how they process grief and trauma. And for a lot of us, in those messages I was reading, this has really triggered childhood or recent trauma. Like, this is a major PTSD moment. So we can't just get over it. If somebody says get over it to me, I'm like, you need to leave my space. So just take time to heal. So let's take up space, because these haters don't want us to take up space. That's what patriarchy and racism, misogyny are all about. They don't believe that we deserve to be here, but damn it, we do. We do. So let them be angry and ragey. Let's lean into kindness with each other. I will be here. I will be posting more on the MeidasTouch network. I will stand in the gap with you guys. And yes, I really do read a ton of these comments. So thanks for watching. I'm so glad you guys are here. I hope to see you back here very soon. Sending you love and healing and, of course, peace.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Meidas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.